Hi, Rob Campo here. I am with James Blanken, and we are on the way home from the Avengers.
Avengers!
So, where to start on this? Alright, first I should start off and say that there's going to be huge spoilers, so if you plan on seeing the movie, if you care about any of that, or whatever, there's obviously...
Just stop right now.
Yes, just press pause.
Turn us off, go see the movie, then listen.
Then go to www.pornhub.com.
There you go. That's a good way to spend about, 12 minutes?
12, wow. I was thinking more of 3.5, but, to each their own.
Depends on what you're into.
So, I usually say that everybody dies as a spoiler for the movie, but I think it's fair to say that not everybody died.
Very true.
But just half of everybody died.
Well, although I never read the actual comic book series that the movie is based on, which, just so you know, the movie is not the comic book series, but they take ideas from it.
It's not the comic book?
It is not the comic book series. Everything that happened in the comic book did not happen in the movie. They took ideas from the comics, obviously, the Infinity Gauntlet, all that stuff. But in the comic book series, it actually starts with Thanos snapping his fingers and destroying half the universe.
So we weren't actually watching a comic book. I'm confused.
We were watching a comic book inspired movie.
Okay.
Like you know those movies that says based on insert book title here?
That's true. I've seen that before, that disclaimer.
Yes, so basically this movie should have that disclaimer before it, based on the Infinity Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, half the universe is just destroyed in the blink of, or the snap of a finger, literally.
Literally the snap of a finger.
Yes. So, I mean, I knew going into it that such things were going to happen. However, this is part 1 of a 2-part series, so we have to see what happens in part 2.
I thought it was actually going to be the last one. So there's going to be another one?
Yes. When they were originally writing Infinity Wars, it was supposed to be Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2. But they changed that, but Part 4 is a continuation of this story.
Okay, so that makes much more sense now.
Yes. So, but it... Like, going into it, I was expecting to see so much. Originally, I wasn't sure how they were going to fit everything in there. Because I was thinking originally the movie was going to have to be at least 3 hours. But it's at a nice, brisk 2 hours and 36 minutes, which you actually... Well, for this movie it was. It just moved.
Oh.
You do not notice the fact that it's 2.5 hours long.
It was definitely a good ride of a movie. It was like, I would say maybe 90% fight sequences and like maybe 5% of really soap opera-ish type dialogue.
I don't know if those are the numbers I would use.
Oh,
but
and then what's the other percentage left?
5.
That's Scarlett Johansson.
See, I had more of a thing there for the younger, more sane Olsen sister.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She does it for me.
Oh wow.
But and she was great in it
now
too.
Now you hear it, folks. You heard it here first.
But the one would think, even in a movie this big that's 2.5 hours long, how are you going to make time for all these characters and all these stories? And they did it wonderfully. They did it masterfully. Like, you didn't really feel like one character or one story got more time than others or more time than it needed. They all just worked together really, really well.
It definitely was edited quite nicely. I would like to see, maybe for the Blu-ray releases, they'll do some like behind the scenes or whatever, because a lot of it had to be with like motion tracking and just making faces, and then the computers add all the crap in front of it, and like I would just like to see the scene where the actors are doing it just on a green screen with nothing there, and they're like, "Rrr."
Well, Josh Brolin, who plays Thanos, was filmed using motion capture.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's the same style of motion capture as what they used on Avatar, where he's wearing the helmet, basically, that has the cameras on it to make sure it gets every single one of his facial features. But if it wasn't, whatever they were using was amazing, because the features and the expressions that you could actually see in Thanos' face, the fully rendered character, were amazing. Like, you actually felt for him. You know he is insane, but you still felt for him.
I thought it was the opposite. I think that scene where that Asian bug is
Mantis.
Is that her name?
Mantis.
Is
Yeah.
Psychically freezing him or whatever, and he's like, I killed her.
using her power to subdue him. That's actually not the scene I was thinking of. Really, it was the scene.
But that stuck out to me.
Well, the scene that I really thought of was I forget the name of the planet, but it's where he goes to get the Soul Stone. Which that was a shock to me, because there were so many theories about where the Soul Stone was, and none of them were correct.
And it wasn't in Wakanda.
Wakanda. It was not in Wakanda.
Damn it.
No. But he goes there. There's a great cameo on that planet, which that one I'm not going to spoil. But but you find out that in order to get the Soul Stone, you have to give a soul. And not only that, but a soul
Makes
that you
sense.
truly care for. Yeah. It's one of those really nice twists they have in the story. And he kills Gamora in order to get the Soul Stone. But when
Gamora dies.
Yes, Gamora dies. But when he finds this out, the moment he finds it out to when he finally grabs Gamora to throw her off this cliff, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there were just so many little nuances and ticks in his facial features and expressions that, like, I thought that was amazing. Like, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have gotten that. Now, with all the technology that is out there to create characters like that, it looks amazing.
Yeah, well, technology has definitely gone a long way, especially with all the stuff that Doctor Strange has been doing. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's how the movie was timed so well. Doctor Strange came in and edited it enough to make it seem like it was less time, but it was really a 5-hour movie.
He used the time stone to wipe everybody's memery.
Exactly.
He went to Marvel and said, "Marvel, I've come to bargain."
Yes, something like that. And there was a definite collection of stones.
Yes, there was. And I must say that just about all the characters in the movie had a pair of their own.
They did.
So, but
there was a lot of manliness in this movie.
There was, but don't forget, man, the women in this movie, they were definitely given they were written very well.
Yes, there was definitely a bitch fight.
If that's how you want to put it, but there was definitely a strong fight between the good female characters and the bad female characters, and it was awesome.
See, the thing is, they don't show those that much, so it's actually called a bitch fight, but since we never see any of those, we don't know what it was called, but now you know.
If you say so, Rob.
It's a total bitch fight.
But the great thing about movies like this, about the sci-fi movies, and sci-fi in general, is that science fiction tends to have more strong female characters and character arcs than just about any other genre of film.
It started off that way.
It's very true.
Star Trek.
Exactly. But the movie was just incredible. Just with how it paced, the dialogue. I mean, everyone's thinking to themselves, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens when Tony Stark talks with Doctor Strange, or Tony Stark talks with Drax," because of how literal Drax is.
They do talk. There is character in the movie.
There is great character. There's great character development. There is a good sense of humor to it that helps. With the levity. It helps to bring levity to some of the more serious situations, which there are plenty in this. I mean, one of the big complaints about Marvel movies for the last 10 years is that there was no serious, almost like there was no real dramatic heft to them, because you always had that feeling that, okay, the good guy's going to win, the bad guy's going to lose, so there were no serious stakes. But no, in this movie, there are serious stakes. From the first frame of the movie, there are stakes.
Some characters die twice.
Yes. So and then some characters only die once. There are entire genocides, but I don't know if I'd go so far as to say the character of Thanos, how they wrote him and portrayed him, was as good as Hans Gruber in Die Hard, but he was definitely up there. He was definitely a villain that when he is on the screen, you want to watch him.
That is true. Now, I have a theory about Thanos.
What's that?
Do you think, like, I got it when basically half the people died, it was almost like the rapture. Do you think he was playing God, like, literally, like, from a religious standpoint?
Well, it's funny that you should bring that up, because the way they wrote it in this movie, no, he wasn't. But in the comics, Thanos has a literal,
not figurative,
infatuation with the physical embodiment of death. In the Marvel Universe, there is a physical embodiment of death. And if you remember, in the post-credit scenes of the very first Avengers, we see Thanos, and he's being talked to about after the Battle of New York and everything, and the character, the Other, tells him that to take on the Earth's mightiest heroes is to literally court death. In the comics, that's what he wants to do. He literally wants to be with death. He wants to make love to death. It's crazy. Now, the way they wrote it in this movie, they gave it wasn't as simple as that. They gave him much more of a driving purpose as to why he wants to rid the universe of half of its population, because on his home planet of Titan, it was becoming overpopulated.
And they all died, right?
And they all died, yeah. But before they all died, before everyone went bye-bye, Thanos went to, I guess, if there was a council on Titan, he went to them and said, if you want to stop this, if you don't all want to die, we have to kill half the population. We destroy half the population, we'll survive, we'll prosper, and we'll go forth for millennia, and we'll be fine. They said, no, that's crazy, and when you see Titan, it's a dead planet.
Yeah, dead planet. You know, if it's a council like any other government, it probably wasn't a moral thing that they didn't want to do it, and they would just probably bogged down in paperwork.
Oh God, could you imagine the paperwork for allowing something like that to happen?
And how do you choose which people? I know it's random, but do you have like a random number generator? Is there? Do they divide it by age group at least?
Well, see, that's the thing though, is that Thanos himself says, no, it would be purely random. Young, old, sick, healthy, rich, poor, hungry, not hungry. It would be truly random. I don't know how he would have decided that, but that's what he said.
Maybe one of those dice they use for Dungeons and Dragons?
It's very possible. It is. It's very possible. And one thing I do have to say, if you have the chance, if you have a theater near you that shows the movie in 4D, which is what they call it up here, it's basically a ride.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. They call it 4DXS. I believe Jordan's Furniture here in Massachusetts has a similar one. They call it the Motion Odyssey Movie, or MOM. But for anybody, it might be called something else. You should get
some advertising revenue there.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Road Noise in Massachusetts. The way it works is that you're in a seat, and the one good thing about these theaters is that they are much smaller than the regular size theaters, and the seats are a little bit bigger.
You don't feel as crowded, and they are also comfortable.
Yes.
But what happens is that you're on it's a set of 4 seats, and you're basically on just a long plank that are on pistons, so that the seats can move forward, backwards, left, right, all over. And then on top of that, there's other things they do. It'll blow air in your face in the event.
Some water.
And water.
And my favorite, the ankle ticklers.
The ankle ticklers. But then, of course, we know it as the bourbon spray, because the first time we were in this theater, we were watching Logan.
There's like a smell-o-vision too. And
yes.
It's only one smell, it seems like, but now it's like they changed it to Calvin Klein. But when we first saw
the movie Logan, and he was drinking bourbon, they sprayed it in our face. So it's like, oh, so that deteriorating plastic smell, that's how bourbon smells. Interesting.
It must have been the worst bourbon in the world. Like it was like I can't even burnt plastic would probably be a good.
It would probably be close. Like
It was a chemical smell.
Yeah, almost like if you ever smelled the inside of a garden hose, kind of in a way. Like it was definitely a chemical
Jamie,
plastic smell.
How many? What's the story behind smelling garden hoses, huh?
Dude, I grew up in the 80s and early 90s. That's what kids did.
And kids smell garden hoses in the 80s and 90s?
If
I didn't smell any hoses.
If you had younger or older siblings that were trying to get at you and it was a hot day
they played
and
the game of there was maybe hide the hose.
No, there was the game of, hey, why isn't water coming out of the hose? It's on because one of your siblings was holding it, was crimping it. So you look in there and you try and see what's going on. You get a whiff of what's going on in that hose. And then, of course, your sibling opens up the crimp and you get blasted in the face with water.
Just like in these movie theaters.
Yep, just like in these movie theaters. And some people on Pornhub.
Yeah, yep.
You can't forget the people that are watching Pornhub right now, watching people get blasted in the face.
Right now.
Yep.
As we speak, because they don't want spoilers.
Exactly.
They're going to be listening to this and be like, this is what you think of your audience. And the answer is yes.
Yeah,
yes,
pretty much. Do. Yeah. So, but if you've been following the Marvel movies and you don't know anything about the comics, I briefly read some Spider-Man in my younger years, but I still enjoy the stories of the comics, and you can go online and pretty much get all the storylines that you could possibly need. That's actually where I went to find out who Thanos was, the story of the Infinity Stones, all that. That's how I know at least some of what's going on. Plus, with everything with the internet nowadays and all these websites that say they're part of geek culture or they watch or they analyze and they analyze movies. You can get a really good idea and background of what's going to be going on anyways, where the story is based off of, what originally happened in the comics, what they think is going to happen in the movies, all of that.
The problem is I don't do any of that. I just go into it blind and then I learn as I go.
Yeah, fortunately though, with the Marvel movies, they've done a really good job creating this universe that you don't have to read the comics. You didn't have to read those when you were younger to know what's going on, because one of the biggest complaints I always hear from people that like to bitch and moan about these movies on the internet is that they're not following the...
People bitch about movies on the internet? What is this?
Ever since movie Poop Shoot, man. Just since 2001 at least. But they say,
do you do any review? Do you read any of the reviews before going to see these types of movies?
There's one review that I like to read them just to see what they say, and then I go into it. They actually they've given most of the Marvel movies a great ratings. So I think the one that they gave the worst rating to was Thor: The Dark World, which was so-so. It had its moments, but it wasn't compared to what we've been witnessing the last few years. It wasn't a great film.
Yeah, it probably was down on the list anyway.
But I mean, as I was saying, so many people complain about, that's not how the character's supposed to look, or that's not how it happened in the comics. But in the comics, they actually deal with multiple universes, dealing with time travel, different timelines. So in the comics, there are literally an infinite number of timelines and universes that stories happen in. Well, the universe that we're watching on the screen is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Cinemagic.
So it's not the comics. It may take ideas from the comics because in the multiverse theory, there are an unlimited number of universes. You can have many worlds. You can have two universes where everything happens the exact same except for 1 nanosecond. And therefore it's a multiverse.
There's a universe where I peed the bed this morning. And it's not this one. It's not this universe.
Okay.
It was another one. Another universe.
I'm going to take your word for it, Rob. But remember, that means there's also a universe where when you woke up this morning, you woke up next to Scarlett Johansson.
That was for the record this universe.
Okay, if that was this universe, then it was a different universe where you woke up both with Scarlett Johansson and the younger Olsen twin. You got it on in a threesome.
And Mary-Kate and Ashley were smoking in the corner just watching.
Yeah, but that happens in every universe.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, shit. I hope I don't get pulled over.
Yeah, we just passed by a police officer, so this should be interesting.
And I'm speeding.
Yeah, but it looks like he's staying right there, so I think we're okay.
Oh, thank balls.
Or thank the Olsen twins. You never know.
They were using their psychic powers.
So, but But that's the thing, is that with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's just another universe where some of the stories, you know, are similar to what happens in the comic books, or they come up with new ideas, but it's because it's cinematic, they have to do things differently so that it looks good on the screen.
However, I think for all those that are crying right now that almost everybody died, I have a feeling during part 2, now that I know there's going to be a part 2, that some of them are going to come back alive again.
Well, remember, even though the gauntlet itself was destroyed at the end of the movie when Thanos snapped his fingers to destroy half the universe, the stones were still intact.
Yes, they were.
So, and remember, only about half of the main characters in the Marvel universe, in this cinematic universe, died. They were destroyed.
But
so we still
Spider-Man did. Spoiler.
Yeah, that was kind of a tough one, and Tom Holland did great. He did do great as Spider-Man.
But are there any Spider-Man movies?
Oh yeah,
that are going to come out?
Yep. They're
So obviously they're going to bring them back.
Yeah, and on top,
maybe it'll take place. You think it'll be a prequel or something?
No, from what I remember, it's going to take place after Infinity Wars, or it's going to take place after these movies.
Then.
Yes,
He has to come back.
Yes, and they are making a third Guardians of the Galaxy film. So now I don't know if that means that all of the Guardians will be back, if they'll be taking on new characters. I don't know, but there is going to be a third one of those. So it's a very interesting time. But you know, the last 10 years have been worth it with all these movies, because Infinity War was just amazing. It was amazeballs.
I definitely recommend that you guys go see it.
Yes, definitely, at least once, even if you've never watched a Marvel film, or you
watch all the first ones. You have to kind of get up to Q, don't you?
Well, I mean, you can go in. You can pretty much go into it without having watched any of the other ones and be entertained. You may not get the whole story, but you'll still.
Of it?
No, you'll still be entertained. But if you watch the other two Infinity Wars. If you watch the other two Avengers films,
yeah, definitely watch those.
Watch those. Definitely watch the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And
see both. No, see Guardians first. Those movies are awesome.
The Guardians films are great.
Especially if you like this 80s music and culture and everything.
Yeah, the pop culture references everything. But I'm just trying to think of like the movies that really have something to do with the Infinity Stones. You know, even Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was
good.
It was good. It was pretty trippy too. So you know what? If you watch it while you're smoking up, yeah, provided you live in a state where it is legal, or just
if it's illegal, just do a hit of acid.
Yeah, there you go. Watch Doctor Strange. But you know, if you watch the other two Avengers films, the first Guardians, Doctor Strange, and as I said, Thor: The Dark World, which wasn't one of the better Marvel films, but it does deal with a Infinity Stone, you'll kind of get the gist of it. You know, and on top of that, in the first Guardians film, Thanos does make an appearance, and you get more of an idea of where he comes from, so that will actually help you in watching Infinity War. But otherwise, I mean, even if you're just like, no, I don't want to, but I want to see this just because it's so big, because it's going to be huge, go see it. Go see it at least once. You know, I'm hopeful that I'll actually go see it again, because it was that good.
I'll probably get it on Blu-ray and just have people over or something.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to get it on Blu-ray. I can't wait now. So, because it will be interesting to see what they cut out of it, like what scenes they cut out, you know, behind the scenes stuff, you know, the making of, all that stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You know what I hope they do a making of?
What?
How Chris Evans doesn't age.
Well, you know why he doesn't age.
Well, I know his character as Captain America doesn't age.
I got you, yes.
But after all these, he looked even younger in this movie, even with the beard.
Well, I was going to say it was the beard and it was the hair.
Maybe.
So, but he's actually from Massachusetts.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he is actually. He's originally from Massachusetts. His father's actually a dentist in one of the towns outside of Boston. I forget which one.
Ooh.
So, but you can actually look it up on his IMDb.
Yes, IMDb.
Or not IMDb. I mean, Wikipedia. Well, both probably. Yeah.
But were there any scenes that were kind of like cringeworthy? Like I like to go and kind of try to analyze the technology.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene when these suicidal monsters, kamikaze monsters, as they're probably called, TM, we're trying to blast through the force field for Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
And all the soldiers in Wakanda had spears that shot like lasers or some sort of blue laser things at him. But then there's the one white guy who has long hair, and I don't remember what his character was.
That's the Winter Soldier. That's Bucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they called him the White Wolf.
Well, in this they call him the White Wolf because in another spoiler alert if you haven't seen Black Panther, so pause now. And in the post-credit scenes of Black Panther, you see Bucky Barnes, and they call him the White Wolf, which is a character.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, which is a character from the comics. So that's why they call him the White Wolf.
Okay, but he had, I think he was the only one there with an actual gun that shot bullets.
Falcon did too.
Did he?
Yeah, that's part of his thing. But remember, though,
they're in a futuristic city where they can basically dream up whatever they want, and they're still shooting
because of the vibranium. Remember, the vibranium is what gave them all their technology.
Yeah, but just I'm saying that if I were one of them, I would upgrade my weapon to something more space age rather than a regular gun, a projectile gun that shoots actual bullets, because. If you've ever shot a gun before, or seen guns be shot, they actually run out of ammo.
No, they do, but and
where's he hiding all those clips?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
See,
but
maybe don't go see it just for that reason.
See, I really didn't have any cringeworthy moments. The only thing I was a little off on was after Thanos snaps his fingers and destroys half the universe. He has, I guess you could he has kind of an out-of-body experience where time stops and he goes to this other realm.
That's when the acid took on.
Yeah, that's when the acid really kicked in. So, and I thought it was actually him in this other realm and he was about to greet the embodiment of death. But it wasn't. It was actually Gamora as a little girl when he originally took her from her home planet, asking her if everything was worth it. And it was so I was wrong in what was going on, but I still thought it was a great moment because you could see that after everything that has happened, it did take its toll on Thanos. It did. However, at the end of the movie, the last scene, you can see in his eyes a form of contentment.
Yeah.
Like even with the toll that it's taken on him, it's like I've achieved my goal. So he actually seemed happy.
I actually thought that scene was going to be the other monk that stayed behind. Like, I thought there was going to be some sort of connection between that and him, because he just goes to protect the wherever they live.
Yeah.
Was that Manhattan?
No. See, I think there might have been a cut scene there somewhere, because I don't think he was on Earth anymore. So I don't know where he was. It may have been another planet that he took as his own, but I don't think it was Earth. So, but it was amazing. It was great. Highly, highly, highly recommended. It's one of those things where 10 years was worth the wait. With all the build-up, with all the other Marvel movies leading to this event, it lived up to the hype. It was great.
Well, it looks like we are home.
Yep. So,
do you want to give out your Instagram or anything? So if anybody wants to check you out, maybe your photos or anything?
Yep. I'm a part-time photographer. I do weddings, portraits, special events. You can see my Instagram at JB_photo1982. That is my Instagram handle.
It's very easy to remember. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yes, it does. But I chose that because there's actually a JB Photo Boston or something like that, and he's an actual photographer. He's been doing it a while. Not quite my style. So that's why I did JB_photo1982, and that's the numbers 1982.
And you guys know me at Man Campo. And until next time, it was fun. Talk to you guys later. Bye.